What is going on, guys? Nathan here with some sort of gameplay commentary. Not entirely sure what gameplay will be on the screen because I am recording this before I actually get whatever gameplay is going to be for this video. But today I want to talk about Overwatch. And the beta, as everybody knows, was released. It looks amazing, looks pretty finished to me. Still a little bit of glitches and bugs to work out, I'm sure. But Overwatch is looking really nice. And just from people who have been able to access the beta, it looks so good, so much fun. I cannot wait until this game formally releases, as does everybody, I think. But there are a couple things I want to talk about. One primary concern that I have, because Overwatch looks super amazing in like all but one area, and that one area is what I want to talk about today. Before I actually address that point, though, I want to say, though, one sort of secondary concern that I have about this game is the visual clutter. Blizzard, please, before this game is released, clean up the visual clutter on the screen. The gun models are just so massive for so many characters. There's just so many effects on the screen at once. That stuff just needs to be at least minimized. That, or just provide some sort of like console for people to use. Because if you take something like the ideal thing, which will never happen because it's basically like open source at this point, is Team Fortress 2, right? So obviously TF2 has been compared to Overwatch, but like what TF2 did right, and what all Valve games do right, is that they include a console so you can enter commands and do certain things to change the game to your preferences. So if I want to have no gun model at all, I can do that within the TF2 console. If I want to change my HUD in a certain way, I can download a custom HUD and have a minimalistic HUD that way. I would really prefer some sort of customization to minimize the visual clutter that is in Overwatch. Okay, so that's done. What I am primarily concerned about Overwatch with is the lack of replayability. My biggest fear, because this game has been hyped so much, is that it's going to release, people are going to go, oh my god, this is amazing, and then 2 to 3 weeks later they stop playing it because there's a lack of replayability. Now, there are 16, if I'm not mistaken, 16 different classes that you can play as in Overwatch compared to 9 from Team Fortress 2. And I will consistently make these comparisons because TF2 is a good comparison to Overwatch, and that's just been widely made. It's been widely accepted, at least to me. And TF2 has had so much replayability because it has so much different content. There are so many weapons to experiment with for all 9 different classes. There are weapons upon weapons upon weapons to just experiment with. There are so many maps to play. There are so many game modes to like experiment with, or just play different game modes to have something interesting. You even have just like player created game modes in terms of the modding communities, such as like dodgeball and like prop hunt and things like that. So in TF2, there's a lot to do. There's almost an overwhelming amount of content for a player who is new to the game. Whereas, now this is, granted, this is the beta version of Overwatch, but the beta has shown us, I think, 1 game mode so far, maybe 2 game modes. I'm not really sure if it has both basically the equivalent of payload and control point in the beta. I'm not really sure. But there are 16 different classes, which is good, but they all have the same, like, it's the same weapon every time. So I think in order to increase the replayability within Overwatch, there should be new weapons and different maps and different game modes. And this is something that's actually super easy for Blizzard to do because they just release it as, well, okay, they can release it as DLC. The problem with that, though, is that if you want as much content, per se, as something like TF2, that's going to be like $100 worth of DLC. If you just figure like 2 or 3 maps plus, let's say, like 16 different weapons is probably about, I would say, like a $10 DLC package. And if you want like a lot of content, I would suspect that would be about 10 DLC packages. The downside to that as well, if they want to make money off of this new content, is that not everybody will have the DLC. So like, if Overwatch is free to play, like the free to play experience without spending any money is so limited to what you could be doing within the game if you have all the DLC. So I would say that the best way to go, or at least in an ideal world, this is probably not going to happen, but in an ideal world, I would say that the best strategy would be to go with what Team Fortress 2 has already done, frankly. In that you make it free to play and you make all of the weapons monetized. You don't need to even have like a trading system or anything. If Blizzard really wanted to make a bunch of money on like implementing a ton of new content, all you do is just put the weapons for like a really cheap price into like a marketplace like TF2 does, except that the weapons in the TF2 marketplace are so overpriced. Like, there are weapons that are like $2.50 or something for like a different pyro flamethrower, and it's like, that is literally worth like a scrap, not even in terms of item value. So if Blizzard really wanted to just like make money off of it instead of having a market where people will pay certain items to actually like get said weapons, then they just have the marketplace and no trading system. But that caveat still persists, I would say, where like, just don't make them super freaking expensive, because that's just a huge turnoff to everybody. But yeah, that's basically what I would like to see. I would like to see a ton of different weapons that we can experiment with, a ton of maps, and some interesting game modes. And that is really what would make it like, because I am going into this game looking for a game that will keep me entertained for a long-ass time. And, like, I don't think the game will be as long in terms of its longevity as something like Team Fortress 2. But, like, that's what you hope for, right? That's, like, the ideal situation. And right now, as I look at the beta, another caveat that it is a beta, I don't see the game lasting long enough to really warrant like spending years within it, just playing it. So hopefully there is an interesting addition of content to the game, and I am so looking forward to the release of this game because I so want to play it. Like, I've been looking for a good FPS for so long now. Like, no offense to TF2, but it's like, it's just an older game. It's still good. I'm just looking for something fresh, something new. And this is exactly what I'm looking for. So, I think here is, well, I'll wrap up the video, guys. I think I will include a poll of the day down in the description because those are nice and fun, and they're kind of interesting. I think they fit really well with the subreddit Reddit/r/mildly interesting, because it's just sort of interesting data. I don't know. That's like a weird thing that I do. I don't know. What else did I want to say? I have no idea. So I guess that's where I'll wrap up the video, guys. Thank you all for watching. And please clean up the visual clutter, Blizzard. And I'll see you guys later.